a pretty day in Georgia. Thought I'd share a story with you today. I'm going to take you back to a time in 1953. My parents were divorced. We lived at that time with our mother in McRae, Georgia. Spelled MC, capital R-A-E. 1953, I was about in the first grade. And I remember that day. I lived with my mother and two brothers at that time. We lived in a section of row houses, a row of houses across from what was then, I believe, the Shepherd Lumber Company. They had a little store there. I guess it was a company store. My grandfather lived on the same road, and he worked with a sawmill all his life. But they had a little country store there, out there in front of that Shepherd Lumber Company, and across the road was the row of houses we lived in. Little old shotgun houses. A shotgun house is a house if you shoot a shotgun in the front door, the bullet will come out the back door. It's just a straight shot through the house. But in that little store, they had all sorts of candy. A body could go in there with 5 or 6 cents and come out with a whole little poke full of candy. A little brown sack just filled plumb full of. They sold candy, little individual pieces. It wasn't in a old cellophane pack like you see nowadays. That cotton picking wind is messing me up. Let's move out of the wind to tell this story. Yeah, it's much better up here on the porch. See, where was I? Anyway, you could buy a whole sack full of candy for just a few pennies. My mother, my two brothers, and myself, we lived, I don't know, 7 or 8 houses down from where my grandfather lived. And what we lived off of was $50 a month that my father would send us. My parents had, I don't know when they divorced, sometime before that. They didn't consult me about it. But we lived off of $50 a month. We're getting ready to go off to the store, so I need to finish this story. Anyway, we lived off of $50 a month, and that wasn't a whole lot of money back in them days. I'm sure she had to pay rent or whatever else, little bills we might have had, groceries or whatever, to subside on. But occasionally we'd get a few pennies for candy, and she would take us to the store down there across from the Shepherd Lumber Company. We get a little bag full of candy. One day I told her I wanted to go to the store by myself. I'm a big boy. She gave me, I don't know, 5 or 6 cents. You go on down to the store. It's probably seemed like a long way to me, but now that I look back, it's probably like 2 city blocks. She could see the store from the house that we lived in. It was a dirt road that ran parallel to the paved road. The houses were on a dirt road. You had to walk down this dirt road to get to the end of the road, cross over the paved road, which ran parallel to it, and you'd be across the road to where the store was. Anyway, I'm walking down there and making my first official trip to buy my own candy at that store all by myself. Got to the end of the dirt road, turned right and crossed over this paved road. Stepped right out in the highway without looking to see if any cars were coming, and I heard brakes squealing. And a car came within a gnat's breadth of killing me. I was standing right by the bumper when it got stopped. That scared me, but it didn't really dawn on me how close I had come to dying at that time. I didn't know she was watching me from that window. I went on over to the store and bought my candy like a big boy. I went home feeling so proud of myself, and she had a switch waiting for me when I got there. I got my butt switched real good with that switch. And I learned something from it. You don't cross the street without looking. She made sure I knew to look next time I crossed the road. I should elaborate on what is a switch. It's a form of punishment that was readily handed out to children when I was a kid. It's a whipping done with a stick, a small stick. I'll go out here and cut you one and show you what a switch looks like. When you switched your kid, he's less likely to do what you didn't want him to do. Learn right from wrong is what you want him to learn. Nowadays, you use a switch on some kid, they'll probably put you under the jail, but it didn't kill me none. Part of the punishment itself was sending the kid to get the switch. You had to go get your own switch and bring it back, knowing that they were going to beat you with the dang thing when you got up the back. I tried it one time. My grandma was going to whip me for something. Go cut me a switch, boy. I said, well, if I bring back a little switch, she's going to wear me out with it. So I ought to find the biggest switch I can. Maybe she'll take pity on me and won't whip me. That didn't work. She just sent me back for another switch. You get a stick about this big right here. Strip it off. You think that won't hurt? Yeah, actually it don't. We thought it did. On bare legs it might sting. But something like that is a switch. Just frail the hell out of the kid with that thing. But the biggest part of the punishment itself was making you go get the switch. I didn't realize that at the time. You did a whole lot of thinking about what you shouldn't have did while you're getting that switch. Hold still while I whip you. Whack, whack, whack. Half a dozen of those across your legs. You didn't do it again.